Hello everyone and welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. Today we are going to play This War of Mine. So my plan with this game, this is a game that can get a little long and you play it over 3 different chapters, and assuming that I can get through all 3, which is very much an assumption because I don't think I probably will. I do think what I'm going to do in this is do one video for one day, and then you guys can let me know what you think we should do next and keep going and so forth. A couple notes about this game. 2. 1, this is probably the most adult game I have played on this channel. So there might be some adult language and some really difficult situations that we're put into because the premise of this game is we're civilians living during the midst of a very, very bad war of some location. And so we're just trying to survive, but there's a lot of difficult decisions we have to make throughout the game. And I'm going to be honest, it's hard for me. Personally, I get connected to your players. I get connected to the characters in the books, and it's sometimes really hard to make those decisions. So just be ready for that. If that sounds okay for you, great. You can keep watching. If not, this might not be the game for you. Second thing is this is going to be a little bit spoilery. If we go to a location and it says, read this from the book of scripts, this number. Well, once I read it, if you see that location, you'll know what it is. But other than that, there's so many things that are variable. You'll be drawing a color card from the color deck and for different cards. So you might find some of the specific ones you've seen in this book of scripts that you might see in your personal play. But I've played this now 3 times on my own, and I've never had the same stories. So I don't think you're going to have to worry too much about that. But I did want to point out potential spoilers. So just like normal, what we're going to do is we're going to set up the game in this video, and we're going to be following this journal along step by step. So if you have the game, you probably don't even need to watch the setup, other than maybe you want to see what characters we get to play with in this playthrough. But if you haven't played the game, I do suggest watching the setup because it'll help you understand what's going on the board. But this journal does do a great job of showing you how to set up the game. How to play the game is a different story, but I'm kidding. It's not bad for how to play the game. I just really don't like how they did the rules in this game, but that's okay. That's just my personal opinion. But we will go on and start setting up the game. If you'd like to just jump to the playthrough, check out the videos after this one in the playlist. The first thing we'll need to do is pick out characters. Now, what they say is to pick 2 black characters and 1 red character. I don't honestly know why. Maybe it's just having to do with what their abilities are. So they just say to shuffle them up and to draw the first 3 and then just make sure you have that coloring. I just break them out in the piles. So I'll grab 2 black and 1 red. We'll give these characters a shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And we'll grab Marin. So we have Marin, a garage owner. And then for our second black character, it'll be, let's do this one. Looks like we have Bruno, the TV host and chef. Ooh, maybe having a chef will help us. And then our 1 red character will be, I guess it's going to be this one. Aricia, the cat burglar. I'm going to take the rest of these characters now and shuffle them all up because we may potentially meet more depending on what we do in this game. And I'm going to set it on the character's spot on the board. The thing about this game is they have places for all the cards on the board itself. So although the board feels really big, I love how I have places for all of my cards on the board. So I am totally okay with how big the board is. Let's look at each character quick so you guys understand. Prowess just lets you know how often they can re-roll their attack dice if they attack. So that's good to know for people who are guarding the house or maybe have events when they are scavenging and they can fight just a little bit better just because they've got re-rolls. Empathy is going to be used for if bad events happen, and if we feel empathetic, our misery might go up. So having a higher empathy is not really a good or a bad thing. It just means we're more susceptible to those types of effects in the game. We each have 1 to 2 special abilities. So it looks like Aricia here has Sneaky. Once per scavenging before rolling for noise, Aricia may lower the noise by 5. That is awesome, and you'll see how that works in the playthrough. And then Burglar. When Aricia uses a lockpick, she may re-roll a die. That's also cool. Okay. Marin, he only has 1 ability, Handyman. During the day action phase, when using the poke about action, Marin adds 3 to his black die roll. Oh, cool. So he can poke about pretty well. And you'll see how that works. And then we have Bruno, who's a TV host and a chef. And voila! You may sacrifice one of Bruno's actions during the day action phase to roll the black die. Results 6 through 10 add 1 vegetable to the storage. So apparently he can just create vegetables. Cool. Now, they all have these spirit abilities here, and I'm not going to read them to you, but those at the end of each round, we're going to draw a fate card, and that fate card might say activate all players' A habits or C habits, and then we'll read what they are. So, I mean, we might actually, I probably should look at this because it looks like Marin needs coffee from the storage to erase his misery, and then if he is miserable, well, at a level 2 or 3, we're going to have to raise his illness by 1. So we don't want Marin to be miserable. Aricia here, she wants cigarettes. Otherwise, she increases misery. And if there's a guitar in the storage, she can actually lower one chosen character's misery by 1 because she can play the guitar. And it sees no effect, which is cool. And then Bruno over here, discard 1 cigarettes. We're going to need lots of cigarettes. If Bruno is hungry, raise his misery by 1. Oh, yeah, he probably won't be happy. If Bruno is wounded, raise his misery by 1. Oh, we don't want to wound or hurt. Wow, Bruno's going to be hard. And then each of us have an inventory size. And then we've got 3. That just is useful so after we finish scavenging, we can bring items back equal to what our inventory is. So, cool. Last thing, we all start at hunger 2. Which kind of stinks, because do you see how there's that little black dot? That black dot means we have 1 less action during this first round. So normally during the day phase, we have 3 actions. Well, nope, we're all only going to have 2. And we have to get rid of that hunger. So if we go down from 2 to a 1, you can see on the other side of this, all 3 are blank. That means that we would have 3 actions. So that's what's going to be one of our first goals. But I'll be honest, I have almost never had everyone have 3 actions in a day phase. Usually you're only going to have 1 to 2. Lastly, each one of us will have their own miniature, which is kind of cool. It really brings you into the theme of the game because you can connect with them. But when you don't have them painted like me, it's really important to have the colors on the bottom. Otherwise, you might get confused who is who. So Aricia is green, Marin is yellow, and Bruno is orange or red. We start off the game with placing all of our players here in the guard space. Next thing you'll want to do is place all the cards on the board as I have them. Now, I'm going to go through each one and show you if there's anything that you need to do. For the exploration cards, nothing you need to do, just make sure to shuffle them up. You'll be using those a ton. For the resident cards over here, you'll want to grab the 4 cards that have these exclamation points on the upper right-hand side and pull them out. They will unfortunately be seeded into that deck after each round. You're going to do the same thing actually with the night raids. There are 4 that's got exclamation points. Make sure to pull them out initially. They'll come in later. Your findings deck, you just shuffle it up and you're good to go. Up here in your locations area, you're going to shuffle that deck up, and then what you're going to do is draw the top 3 cards and place them in the close, the distant, and the far areas. Now, when we go scavenging, we can choose one of those 3 locations to go to, but depending on which one we go to, we have less time to explore, so we get less exploration cards, which potentially could be a bad thing. There's less that you can do then. We'll look at these in detail when we start scavenging. Over here, we have the event deck, and we have our objective decks, and both of these we have to work on, so let's do that. To start setting up the event deck, you'll grab the 3 ending event cards, make sure that they're all shuffled up, and that will start the bottom of your event deck. You'll then place the Chapter 3 card on top of it. Then what you'll do is, of the remaining regular event cards, you'll grab 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you'll place the Chapter 2 card on top of that, and then 3 more event cards, 2, 3, and place the Chapter 1 card on top of that. We'll start with Chapter 1 at the beginning of the next video. Let's set up our objectives. So we have to initially start with our final objective here. We need to have a chapter objective for each chapter. So we'll shuffle these up. This will be Chapter 3's objective, this will be Chapter 2's objective, and this will be Chapter 1 objective. Taking care of ourselves. At the end of the chapter, each character's misery must be lower than 2. We do get a reward if we do it, Unity. For each character, choose 1 state and lower it by 1. Oh, okay, and a penalty, raise one chosen character's illness by 2. So we're just really looking to take care of ourselves in this first round. We'll place the objectives right here. So I already told you about the characters. We shuffled that up. We do have our fittings over here. Now, let's look at these fittings quick. These green ones are your starting fittings. These are ones that you can start to build right away. When you build them, you have to pay whatever costs they have right here. So what, 1 mechanical part, 5 components, and 3 wood. If you build it, you'll place it somewhere in our the building here, and then you can do these different actions. So you can make a board up, you could make parts, you can make filters, you can repair a guitar, which would be really cool if we found a guitar. That'd be awesome because of Auricia's ability. So you have all of these, and you can make them at any time as long as you have the goods that are depicted on the board. Now these orange backed ones, these ones are simply ideas, and we're going to have to go to a specific spot on our board to be able to first put these into our fittings deck. After we put them into our fittings deck, then we can build them. So, and usually they're upgrades to, improve the herbal garden. So, it allows us to improve certain things or improve other cards that we've had to already create here. So these cards you can always look through, either ones, and you can definitely look at the backside to see what they do for you, because that's going to be very important. You don't want to build something that's not helpful. The last 3 decks of cards here, we got our fate, our narrative actions, and our colors. Nice and simple. You just grab them, shuffle them up, and you're good to go. I've never played a game that's had so many different little components because this is what we start off with, you guys. This is wood. So we have 4 wood, 2 water, 4 components, 1 shovel, 3 raw food, and 1 lockpick. But you're going to find that you're going to get tons of different goods in this game, and then they're going to be stolen from you, and then you're going to find more, and then you're going to use them to stay alive. So just be ready to have tons of stuff in this storage area. But this is what we'll start with. The last thing we have to do is seed the board with these cards. We've got cards that match the different locations: rubbles, heaps, furniture, closed doors, and bars. And I'm going to place them out randomly on the board. Each time you play, you'll have these set up just a little bit differently. And that's because you'll find things differently depending on where or what cards you flip. So as you can see, we've now placed all the cards on the board. There's rubble, closed doors, furniture, and heaps. And then there's 1 bars over here where you have to cut through it with a saw blade. So after this, you are set to go and ready for your adventure through this war of mine. So we've now set up the board. We've got closed doors, some rubble, some heaps we can look through, and some furniture that we can look through. We can go anywhere in the house as long as it's not blocked by a closed door. Otherwise, we have to pick the closed door, pick the lock of the closed door to get to those locations. But that's it. That's the setup. Hope you guys are excited. Let's jump to the playthrough.